I'm sorry not to be able to be with you tonight to receive this great honor. One movie set was so toxic that actors watched their bathwater turn blue from chemicals. Another was cursed so badly that 2 lead actors died before filming even started. A third became the scene of brutal murders after cameras stopped rolling. Hollywood has left behind more than just props and buildings. They've abandoned places where real tragedies happened, where people got sick, where darkness took over, and some of them are still standing today waiting for the next victim. The 10 Commandments. Beneath the sands of California there's a secret most people have never heard of. It's not a natural wonder or a forgotten ghost town. It's an entire Egyptian city built not by ancient hands but by Hollywood. In 1923, director Cecil B. Deal created something massive for his film The 10 Commandments. Out in the Guadalupe, Nipomo Dunes, he built a full-scale Egyptian set so large it felt more like a real city than a backdrop. Stretched 800 feet across and reached as high as a 12-story building. The towering temple gates rose 120 feet. There were 21 enormous plaster sphinxes, 8 huge lions, and 4 statues of Ramses, 2 each weighing 40 tons. Over 1,300 workers built it using 25,000 pounds of nails and 250 tons of plaster. But what made this story unforgettable wasn't just the size. It was what happened after the camera stopped rolling. Instead of taking the set down, Deal buried it. Not a few props, the whole thing. The cost to remove it was too high. But that wasn't the only reason. Deal was famously obsessive about his work. He didn't want other studios reusing any part of his grand creation. So he made a trench, pushed everything in, and covered it with sand. Just like that, the city of the Pharaoh vanished. For 60 years people forgot it even existed. Then in 1983, a filmmaker named Peter Brosnan stumbled upon a clue. Came from Deal's own autobiography. That hint led Brosnan on a journey into the dunes. What he and a team of archaeologists found was shocking. Massive sphinx heads weighing 300 pounds were still buried, nearly untouched. The colors on them, reds, blues, and deep terracotta, were still vivid. Even after being underground for almost a century, those colors were painted specifically to make the statues pop on black and white film, a clever trick lost to time. Digging up the site isn't easy. Every excavation permit costs around $135,000. But that hasn't stopped the team from continuing their work. What they're unearthing isn't just a lost movie set. It's a piece of Hollywood history that has become a real archaeological site. These kinds of sets no longer exist from that era. They were never meant to survive, but this one did. Trapped under the dunes like a time capsule. Star Wars: The Phantom Menace. In the middle of the hot Tunisian desert, about 20 kilometers north of a town called Nefta, there's a strange and quiet place. It looks like something from another world. That's because it is. Or at least it used to be. Back in 1997, a group of filmmakers arrived here and started building a movie set for Star Wars: The Phantom Menace. They didn't just throw up a few props and call it a day. They spent 5 months building a full-scale spaceport called Mos Espa. It had about 20 round, white buildings spread out across the sand and tall moisture evaporators that looked like machines from another planet. To even get there, they had to build a new road connecting the site to the nearest highway. The whole thing cost around $3 million. This place wasn't just a pretty background. It became the childhood home of Anakin Skywalker. That meant it was the starting point of Darth Vader's story. For fans of the saga, this wasn't just a set. It was a piece of history. And yet, it's vanishing. Not because of time or vandals or even neglect, but because of the desert itself. In 2013, a scientist named Ralph Lauren from Johns Hopkins University published something surprising in a journal called geomorphology. He had been studying the way sand dunes move. Not just small piles of sand but giant ones called barrens. These dunes creep across the land over time carried by wind. And as turns out, one of them is heading straight for Mos Espa. Loren calculated that the set could be completely buried in just 6 years. And once the first dune finishes the job, an even bigger one is waiting behind it. That news shocked a lot of people, especially in Tunisia. The government had hoped to use the site as a tourist attraction. After all, how many people can say they stood in the birthplace of Darth Vader? There were even talks about bulldozing the dunes to save the set. But scientists said that would only buy a little more time. Eventually, the desert always wins. Now, if you want to see Mos Espa for yourself, it's not easy. You have to cross a rough desert landscape just to get there. And when you do, you'll find buildings already filled with sand. Some parts are gone completely, swallowed by the earth. The heat is brutal. Summers often hit over 50 degrees Celsius or 122 degrees Fahrenheit. The dry air cracks the walls and wind eats away at what's left. Bit by bit, the spaceport is fading. Full Metal Jacket. Stanley Kubrick didn't just film a war movie. He turned one of London's most dangerous industrial ruins into the battle card streets of Vietnam. For Full Metal Jacket, he chose the abandoned Baekton gas works as the stand-in for the devastated city of Hue. Built in 1870, this place had once been the largest gas works in the world. By 1949, it powered most of northern London. But by the time Kubrick arrived in the 1980s, it was a crumbling, toxic wasteland. That's exactly what made it perfect for him. What most people didn't realize was how dangerous it truly was. Actor Matthew Modi, who played Private Joker, spoke about it years later. He said Baekton was one of the most toxic